the organizer. I'm going to get off the stage because I am definitely not even close to the main event here, but my name is Adisu Demesi. I am Gavin Newsom's campaign manager, but that is not the hat I wear today. I am a resident and constituent of Assembly District 15. Probably in this room, the person who has known Buffy Wicks the longest. Other than Devin, yeah, her brother. I take it back. The second longest. I've known Buffy for 15 years. We used to organize against each other. In Iowa, she kicked my butt most of the times in rooms just like this. When I thought I might leave politics at one point, it was Buffy who called me and said, "Don't do that. You still have some fight left in you," and now I certainly do, and have the honor of helping this guy. And so I just want to say to you, first of all, thank you, Buffy, for keeping me in this game. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Gavin, for hiring me. And to a new friend that I've made over the course of this campaign, let me just introduce Gavin's wonderful partner and real rock star and superstar of this campaign, Jen Newsom.
You gotta scream. But like, are you fired up? Are you excited? All right. Okay, so let's not forget, 2016 happened. Okay, it's on now. Okay, 2016 happened, and we were all miserable, right? Anxious.
Still miserable.
Sorry. And then President Obama called Buffy and said, "You should run for office." Our former president wants her to run for office. This woman basically constructed his whole grassroots community organizing campaign and strategy. This is a woman who's been in politics for 20 years. She knows how to get things done. She came from a working class background. She's one of all of us. She knows what it's like to put herself out there. She's a mom to a young daughter. She carries her daughter, brings her daughter with her everywhere. Jojo, you're so lucky. You're going to be a rock star, right? She cares about family. She cares about public education. She cares about the well-being of all of you in this room. And she's brilliant. She is brilliant. She's a policy wonk like my husband. We need women like Buffy in the legislature in Sacramento. And Gavin and I are going to work our butts off to make sure that we're all there as we turn this state fully blue. Come on, it's possible, guys, right? We're going to work our butts off to make sure that we're all there so that we can work together, so that we can create a California dream for all of our children, for everyone that lives in this great state of California. So with that, I want to welcome Buffy Wicks. I don't know where I got that. You're going to buck in it. You're going to get in there. And Buffy Wicks, our next assembly member of the great District 15. Thank you. How's everyone doing? Great. Are we fired up? Yeah. I can't help but say that. It's just I did it for 8 years. But thank you so much for being here today. I'm so honored to be here. And I have to say, it's very humbling, you know? I mean, you guys know my story. I'm a girl who grew up in a trailer. I don't come from a lot. I went to community college. You know, I went to public schools, and I had parents who pushed me and my brother, who's in the audience, you know, to dream big and to work hard and to achieve. And that, what they taught me, that sensibility, is what has carried me through working in progressive politics for 20 years. And this girl that grew up in a trailer got to work at the White House. And as honored as I am to be endorsed by President Barack Obama, and people like Gabby Giffords, and people like Kamala Harris, and Libby Schaaf, and many of the mayors from this district, and as honored as I am to be endorsed by this guy, Gavin Newsom, what I'm more honored to have is the support from each and every one of you in this room today. Because this campaign, this isn't about me, it's not about Gavin, it's not about any of us. It's about the moment of time that we are in right now in our nation's history. And we have a president, I hate to even use the term, who's wrapping a white nationalist flag around himself.
right? And we also have here in California, 3rd grade math and reading scores at 43rd in the nation. And when you walk out on the streets of the East Bay and you see the homelessness, the tent cities that we just drove by, this is not okay. And we can fix this. And I am so excited to go to Sacramento to work alongside Gavin. And I have to say, Gavin, I'm going to work with you on so many things. But I'm also going to pester you on
Trust me. I've already mapped that out.
So prepare yourself. When I'm pushing us for more investments in public education. And paying our teachers more money.
Yes.
And much more investments in our higher ed system that we need. And when I'm pushing us on building more housing, and all the things we care about, and more investments in public transportation, safe public transportation for everyone to use, I know that we all share the same common vision, that we want to create an equitable social safety net that allows all of our children to have access to good public schools, to breathe clean air, to drink clean water. And what it means to be a progressive to me is what Bruce and Sherry Wicks taught me when I was a little girl. That we are brothers and our sister's keeper. Yeah. And if that moment has never felt more true than now, I don't know what is, right? That's what we need. And I do believe that we are in a moment right now where 10, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to look back on this moment and we're going to ask ourselves, what did you do then? Yeah. What did you do when we saw what we see in our communities right now? And I have so much hope because I've done about 180 house parties across this district.
Well done. All applaud that.
And we've knocked on, I don't know, about 45,000 doors so far in this race. And people are hungry for the change that we believe in. And I truly believe that if we do everything right in the next 54 days, we're going to get elected, we're going to go to Sacramento, and we're going to do big things here in California that are based on equity and equality and access to resources so that we all can achieve, and so that if a little girl grows up in a trailer, she can work in the White House, and that we all have that opportunity. So, with that, I know you're all here to see the main attraction. No.
You're the main attraction.
I am so excited to introduce to you the next governor of California.
Buffy Wicks, your next assemblyman. Thank you all very much. I am honored to see everybody out here. Also, you know, for a year and a half this guy's been working for me. I've never seen him. Adisu, thank you for being out on the road finally. Not just being in the fancy headquarters steering the state ship. But anyway, thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. Thank you for being here for Buffy. Thank you for being here 54 days out from this pivotal election, not just here in California for Assembly, these state Senate races, but yes, the elephant in the room, these congressional races to bring back oversight in the United States of America and to make sure with full promise the Constitution's realized with that kind of oversight. To each and every one of you, thank you for leading the effort to get Buffy in this position, to be this close to winning this race. But I will say this, because it needs to be said, the past does not equal the future.
Right.
Everything you've done to get to this point, as significant and profound as it's been, means nothing if we don't get her over the finish line on Election Day. Right. So are you going to do everything you need to do to get her over the finish line? I think nothing less, because one thing I know is if you're like me, you don't want to run the 90-yard dash. I read this great piece about the world's greatest sprinters. And I love this. They all run the 100-yard dash. None of them run the 100-yard dash. They all run the 110-yard dash. So they're at a peak when they cross the finish line. It's a good way of thinking about your life in terms of the work you're doing. You're either interested in supporting Buffy or you're committed to supporting Buffy. Think about your own life. You said, it's a New Year's resolution. I'm going to get in shape. I'm really interested in it. And you're out there, and it's January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, beautiful days. Out here, all of a sudden, it starts raining. You're like, oh, man, it's raining. I ain't going to do it. That's interest. Person that's out there on day 1, 2, 3, it starts raining, and they're like, I got no problem. I'm committed to losing weight and getting in shape. That's the difference between success and failure. It comes down to that distinction, whether or not you're committed to something or just interested in something. I'm out here because I'm committed to Buffy's success, because I care deeply about the fate and future of the state of California. And you have an opportunity to elect someone that is enlightening and enlivening. In the spirit of what Jen said, someone who gets it. In fact, Adisa, this should have been your campaign slogan. Who gets it and gets it done. And I want to make a point about that. I have met, and I've had the privilege of being in this, politics for 20 years. I've met a lot of folks. And there are the certain type of folks, you know them, that love to hold hands, have a candlelight visual, talk about the way the world should be, talk, and then just scapegoat any responsibility or role they have to do something about it, meaning they're just abdicating responsibility and blaming everybody else for the world that exists today. And then there are folks that are out there and say, I'll hold hands, I'll have the candlelight visual, but you know what, damn it, it's not just faith, it's works. As you pray, and you've been to church, as you pray, you got to move your feet. It's about actually applying yourself. It's not just ideals, it's the manifestation of those ideals. When it comes to this notion of pragmatism, it's profoundly important, and it's so often missing in our politics, because that's the difference between getting 134,000 people off the streets. Again, we could talk about the good old days when housing and urban development was in the housing business. We could talk about deinstitutionalization for those that were getting support, behavioral health support. Or we can actually do something about it. We can lament about the 44 mental health facilities we've shut down since 1995, 2,800 beds. That's a fact. Or we can do something about it. We could complain about affordability crisis in this state because we're 49th out of 50th in per capita housing units. Thank you, Utah, for being 50th out of 50th. It's the only place making us look okay. But it's not okay. We become, three-class society's become a two-class society. Our middle class is getting squeezed. They're moving out. It's serious. Buffy's right. This is code red. You can't play in the margins anymore. Everywhere I go, I've been on this bus tour. I've done 47 town halls. It's the issue. The bubble word's affordability. $540,000 median price of a home. $2,800 median price of rent. That's insane. But you know what? That's happened on our watch. We own that. Thank God for Democrats. It would have been much worse. But the fact is, we own that. How many of you have kids that can't afford to move out of the house, and you want them out of the house? Right? And you're worried that if they do move out of the house, they may move out of state. I can't tell you how many folks saying, I love California, but my uncle moved to Tennessee and it ain't so bad. I was in Nashville, they say, the other day. It's better than Austin in the summer. And that's, you're having too many, we're all having those conversations, you're hearing those conversations. That's not the place we grew up in. It's an interesting fact as Californians that there is an American dream and there's only one other dream, the California dream. There's no Florida dream, no Texas dream, right? No Washington dream. There's only a California dream because of what we represent. Because we've always been America's coming attraction. California is where the future happens first, right? I know we enjoy those sunsets, but the sun rises in the west. It's a special place, right? There's an energy here, willingness to be on the leading and cutting edge of new ideas. And that's allowed us to grow and prosper. But underneath that is this anxiety that I know a lot of you are feeling, and it's the reason Buffy stepped up and stepped in. And that's the anxiety she's committed to addressing substantively if she's successful in 54 days. That anxiety is around this feeling that we're running in place. It's an anxiety that things aren't necessarily going to get better for the next generation. My mom used to talk about when she got a job, my dad was working, it was no longer 52 paychecks, it's 104 paychecks. But then that came more expenses because you had to have the second car to get to work. You had to have child care because no one was at home. All of a sudden, all of these things sort of, stack up. And then the dream becomes imperiled. Social mobility becomes imperiled. 7.4 million people live below the poverty line in California. No state has more folks, percentage terms, not just raw numbers. And worse, 46% of our kids at or near poverty, when you consider the only thing you have to consider, which is the cost of living. How can that be? And that's what this campaign's about. She wants to do something about that. That's why she got involved in politics. Jen wasn't exaggerating. That whole MyBarackObama.com, all that, those self-organizing communities came together. Buffy Wicks. That's where that stuff came from. That's grassroots. Look, I know where I am. I know we're into grassroots, okay? We're all into grassroots. There's grassroots, and then there's grassroots at scale. That's what she's been about. Not top down, bottom up. Not command and control, climate control. And there's a distinction. Buffy's about creating conditions where success becomes irresistible. She's not about going to Sacramento and selling down her vision back into the neighborhood. She's all about empowering that vision bottom up. She's about two-way conversations. It's not you vote, Buffy decides. It's about two-way conversation, different kind of engagement. That's what she's been about. That's what, by the way, inspired us to get together a couple years ago on the issue of gun safety, where she said to me, she came to us, and she said, what are you doing about gun safety? I said, well, the legislature. She said, no, what are you doing about it? And she presented us a series of things that the state's not doing. I said, no, California's leading. She goes, no, you're not. She starts talking about Massachusetts. I said, okay, maybe, no. What about all these areas? She literally laid out 9 or 10 areas where California is lagging. She said to me, why do we require background checks on guns when a gun has never killed anyone unless it's used as a blunt instrument? I thought about that. I said, well, that's interesting. You do background checks on guns. You've had a background check system for a quarter century. She says, what about ammunition? What about the bullets? So what do you mean about the bullets? She goes, wait, you have to do a background check on a gun, but you can go to the local Big Five or Walmart and get unlimited rounds of ammunition. You can have a stolen gun and legally go out and get unlimited rounds of ammunition. You don't have to go to the store. You can go online and have 15 crates delivered on your doorstep the next damn day. She goes, how can that be? I said, I don't know. What do we do about it? She says, I know what you're going to do about it. You're going to do a ballot initiative. I said, we are. And we put together an initiative that went on the ballot last year, and as a consequence of her leadership and her extraordinary husband's leadership and the work of Gabby Gifford and Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, we organized an initiative, and in January, we will become the first state in American history to require the exact same background checks on all ammunition purchases as we do on guns. That's the difference. That's Buffy. Right? She didn't talk about it, she got it done. That's leadership. Right? That's the difference. She's not lamenting about gun safety issues, she's actually leading. That's the spirit of this candidacy. That's the spirit of this candidate. So, forgive me for being a little bit, pointed. But it's a point of pride. I live here like you do. I care so much about this state. I want to keep that dream alive. I don't want to just survive Trump. I want to thrive through these damn years. I'm sick of being sick and tired. I'm sick of being fearful. I'm sick of being cynical. And I can't be cynical anymore. I've been traveling up and down this state. Trust me, something's happening. It's happening. It's happening here. Look at you guys in the middle of the damn day on a Thursday. You got to have something else to do, right? But you feel responsible to your community, to your family, to this moment to do something. And that is a remarkable thing. So, as Buffy said, I want to express similarly, thank you, each and every one of you, for recognizing you're not bystanders in the world. That you can shape the future. The future is not just something to experience. It's something to manifest. It's inside of you. It's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. So it is incumbent, in closing, upon each and every one of you to decide to double down in the next 54 days. Don't dream of regretting on day 55. When you wake up blurry-eyed, old days you'd pick up the morning paper, now you pick up your smartphone and read the front page of the Contra Costa Times or Oakland Trib or San Francisco Chronicle or maybe one of the neighborhood weeklies and realize, you Coulda, woulda, shoulda. They came just a few hundred, maybe 1,000 votes short. Don't dream of regretting. You have the ability to avoid that by reaching out to those 10 folks that you weren't so sure you needed to reach out to, but you made the decision to reach out to them. Make sure you got on that Facebook page, but also got out of Facebook and, got out on the streets, offline, and got in someone's face in an enlightened sense. And engage someone who may have been on the fence or may have heard something that wasn't necessarily true. And make sure you bring this credible candidate over the finish line. She cannot do this without you. She has got to be your voice for the next 4 to 12 years. We need her in Sacramento. We need her representing the state. You need her representing you day in and day out. If you do that, I promise you this, in California, the best is yet to come. Elect Buffy Wicks. So, thank you guys very much. Appreciate all the support, everybody.
I know everyone wants photos with this guy. I want to recognize Myrna De Vera, Hercules City Council, right up there. And Teddy King, Piedmont City Council, right up there.
Oh my gosh. We know each other.
And I see Lori Grosty, Berkeley City Council. Did I get any, Nat Bates, former Richmond City Council. Oh, Diane Martinez is here, so there she is. Emeryville City Council. Oh, Mayor Tom Budd is outside, apparently. Well, I want to thank you all so much for coming today, and we are fired up and ready to go. We're going to win this thing. We've got 54 days. I need you to canvass. I need you to host me in your living room. I will show up to your living room. You know I will. Some of you have already fallen victim to that. You want to host me and I'll show up, but I need you to canvass. I need you to donate. I need you to be there for me. We're going to do this. We're going to win this campaign. Thank you so much for coming today, and let's take some photos.
Thank you all for coming out.